Faced with the need to remove a tower block from a city skyline, the modern demolition contractor typically has three methodologies in its armoury. If there is sufficient space, explosive demolition is one option. Alternatively, and assuming it can gain access, a high-reach excavator might be called upon to munch the structure down from the ground. Or a crane might be deployed to lower excavators and skid steer loaders onto the roof of the structure to carry out a top-down demolition. Each of these accepted methodologies has its advantages and its disadvantages, its pros and cons, its benefits and its drawbacks. But there is another way, a fourth way, and in the right application, a better way. There is the top-down way. Standing 17 stories tall, the Hotel Michelangelo was built in 1971. With a 4-star rating, it attracted tourists and business travellers from the world over. But in 2020, with Italy among the earliest and hardest hit by the COVID-19 pandemic, Milanese authorities converted the hotel into a quarantine facility. But the Michelangelo is now in its end state. Its final transformation will see the hotel slowly, safely and expertly erased from the Milanese skyline. I joined Stefano Pansieri, CEO of Italian demolition giant Despe and President of the European Demolition Association, atop the Hotel Michelangelo.
My name is Stefano Pansieri. I am the CEO of Despe, an Italian demolition company. We are in Milan in this moment and we are on the top-down way. Well, at the beginning it was, something requested by a client. So an international client went to Despe asking an innovative solution to perform a deconstruction of the skyscraper in Lyon. And the funny thing is that at the time, this client was owning some demolition company. inside their group. But no one was able to provide an innovative solution for this task. We did some brainstorming internally, and we understood that we already had the solution in-house. I mean, Despe in 2010 already had our oleodynamic circular platform for the control of the deconstruction of the stack inside industrial plants. So the sparks, the intuition was just to use the same technology, but to enlarge this circular platform and to invent something bigger. We started from a circular platform of 20 metric ton in weight, and we arrived at the top-down way that weighed roughly 500 metric ton. The first idea was just to make something more stronger than a traditional scaffolding, because as we know, scaffolding has not been designed to keep heavy falling object. Scaffolding has been invented and designed for other purpose, maybe to keep a man with a box of paint and something very light. So the initial scope was to do something stronger. That's the reason why the top-down way has been designed and equipped with a strong and massive flap able to keep more than 500 kilos for square meters. But during the design process, we understood that finally the machine would become something more complex than a simple, let me say, strong scaffolding. First of all, it became self-descending, so a completely automatic machine. And when you are dealing with automation, you basically deal with sensor. We start adding sensor in order to control the position of the flap, in order to control the sense of the machine itself, the temperature, the oil pressure. Finally, we had more than 600 sensors to be managed and controlled. When we realized the huge quantity of sensors to be managed, the automation was immediately the next step. So the software was the only solution able to have on a couple of touch screen the online situation about how the machine was working and how all the part of the machine was cooperating to get the goal. The first target was to contain falling debris, and that's the reason why we designed top-down way with 3 levels of containment. But as soon as we finished the design, we asked why we don't put some other commodities on the machine. And so let's go to put a system of light in order to enlighten the demolition site during the afternoon and the evening. Our supervisor asked to have power in order to empower the electric tools and avoid to bring the power from the staircase. And that's the reason why we have our generator, and we have a electric distribution system on the floor able to provide power whatever is required. The step after was about the technical gases, was about the water in order to contain dust. So finally, the top-down way is a really sophisticated, self-descending job site who is able to provide all the logistics needed for the demolition itself. Top-down way requires 4 weeks. Once the tower crane is assembled and ready to work, we need 4 weeks to positioning the orange beam frame and all the suspended floor around the building. And so we are operative in 4 weeks. Before the installation, all the building goes through a very deep, let me say, engineering process in order to analyze what is the static and the dynamic situation of a building. Basically, we do something very fair. We use the existing column as lifting point for the top-down way. So we basically transferred the vertical loads of a top-down way through the existing column of a building itself. So basically, we don't change the dynamic and static scheme of a building. And about the 500 tons that we are used to add, you have to take in consideration that before the installation of a top-down way, usually the building has been already stripped out, so we miss all the weight of the furniture, for example. There are no people inside, of course, so we don't have the live load of a building. So we have enough capacity to install the machine, and we don't bother at all the static of the building itself. The team crew is about 10 persons. If we move from Italy to abroad, basically the essential specialists are no more than 6. The 4 people that we use, for example, for the cleaning of the flap and for the assistance, can be easily reached on site due to the fact we are used to cooperate with our international partner. This is the way we are developing our commercial action around Europe, around the world, and that's the way we would like to go ahead.